Let's see. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right. Hi everybody. Thanks for waiting around while I got my act together. Spoiler alert, it's not all together. There we go. Um, let's see. My goodness. Streaming a little later than usual today. Wonder if that means I'll meet some new people. Or maybe not. Who knows? Guys, welcome to the stream. I'll be doing a little bit of writing today, a bit of editing. Who knows? Might be a short one. I gotta say, it came from a long work shift, and I don't know what I have in me, but I'll tell you, need something to make me feel. Love this stuff. Wish I was famous enough to get it for free. Cypher, how are you doing, man? It's nice to see you. Well, ECU, virtually see you, live stream see you. I'm good. We usually don't cross paths. I feel like our schedules are off, and now that I'm kind of doing this later stream, here you are. How have you been? I'll tell you what I've been up to. I have been oh, you said just vibing till bedtime. So no, first two query letters today. Mm. That's cool. Going after agents? Fantastic. Hey, it's best of luck, man. I hope you nab yourself an agent. Do you have a manager already? Or are you just going straight past manager, going straight to agent? Almost 8 years into the craft. Lovely. Yeah. And doesn't 8 years feel like still not enough? I feel like every time I get confident, I read somebody else's work and I lose it. I'm like, oh my God, I'll never be that good. Jambit! Hey, oh my goodness. It's been so long since I've seen you on the stream. Also, hello to Kenna67, B4W, and Novix101 YT. How's it going? So I'm live streaming here on YouTube Shorts, obviously, but I'm also on Twitch and my YouTube channel if you want to see um, you know, bigger version. I'll do some writing a little bit later too. I was actually going to talk about uh, some books I've been reading. I've been reading more books, trying to just challenge my own writer voice. Um, Not compare it to the death of myself, but just compare it to get better by reading contemporary American masterpieces. When we're in school, we have to read Catch 22, we have to read Shakespeare, we have to read. Well, I did have one teacher who pushed me to read Lord of the Rings. Uh, I'll be honest, I wasn't really into the fantasy. I'm sorry, LOTR people. That's how it was. But I saw. Did you see Dead Air? One of my shorts. Mama Buckle filmed. He did great. Oh, no. I'm gonna make a note to myself though to go and watch this. I don't know if you saw the dog in the background. That's Sugar, my Boston Terrier. Hi, Marcus, Yazzie, and Enrique. Hi everybody. How you doing? Thanks for joining me on my YouTube live. I really appreciate it. And guys on Twitch and my YouTube channel, if you want to come join me on the live stream too. So there's another Twitch streamer called Mama Buckle. He challenges people to write shorts, and whoever wins the contest, essentially, they film them. And our good friend Cypher Robinson over here on Twitch, got his film made, Dead Air. Dead Air, Mama, Buckle. It's so funny how some people come up with their screen handles, isn't it? My goodness. Um, so I'm sorry, Cypher, I haven't seen Dead Air, but I promise I will watch it. I was going to talk about a little bit about some of the books that I've been reading. I've been going on these really long drives, and I've been audiobooking. So if you don't consider audiobooks reading, sorry, but that's how I did it. And honestly, I do like to see word structure. I like to see where in a book the white spaces are, when people begin new paragraphs, when people give, um, when people make a new line or put a line um, on their own. Uh, you can tell a lot um, by how text is structured, the inflection, and or the character of a voice, what they choose to italicize, bold, underline, neglect to put in. What's so uh, neglect to put in the text altogether. Um, Marcus Yazzie giving me my emojis. Yeah, well, thank you guys. Maybe you agree with me, but the first thing that I did was I read True Grit by Ernest Portis. Um, I had seen the most modern movie version of it, which I really enjoyed. I mean, a good story is a good story. But I had never read the prose before now. I really wish I had any creativity or opportunity to work on anything since you and I last talked. But I've been too burnt out at work to literally do anything except for veg. So here I is doing such. Yeah, Jim. I mean, you're you're not alone. I think that's part of it too, right? I think if you're hanging out on this stream and you're interested in writing, or if you're just killing time on your lunch break, look, happy to have you here. But we live in late stage capitalism. We live in a high stress environment in a politically and culturally divided America. Not only are we stressed in labor, we're stressed in mind, we're pulled thin on emotion, we have limited bandwidth and maximum input coming at us all the time. The human race has never had access to all of the world's possible information that's ever been entered into recorded history all at once. Everybody is vying for your attention. You know, it used to be that you would get junk mail in a mailbox, and now uh, it's like every advertiser gets to buzz your phone, buzz my stupid little watch. Sometimes I have to turn off my notifications just to make it through a day. Yeah, you only have so much bandwidth. So one thing I would say is just don't be hard on yourself. And there are multiple ways to be creative that actually don't involve making a product or having productivity, shall we say, right? Like it's equally as important to engage in uh the community of people who are creating art. It's important for you to be a fan. It's important for you to 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 buy the movie for $1.99, to go to the theater, to admire the artwork, to share the artwork, even if it's just a press of your thumb on Instagram or Facebook for somebody who has been able to do or been fortunate enough, or driven enough, determined enough, whatever you want to call it, to have been able to do the work. It's still important to be a fan, to admire, to absorb, and let those things gestate within you. Um, Vincent, you said, "Hi, good day." I think you mean you're having a good day. I think that's great if you are. I hope you are having a good day. And Cypher says, "I can't handle audiobooks anymore. COVID ruined my listening comprehension." Mm, yeah. Well, I don't envy you, because it's been really getting me through these like long drives, my long commutes, that I've been having nowadays. Find it when you can. Let the lightning strike. Ads so early. Oh, Scythe. If you don't want ads, I'm also on YouTube Live. If you want to subvert commercials and give me a little like, follow, subscribe over there, and watch from the good seats, so to speak. Um, yeah. Oh, right. So talking about True Grit. Talking about True Grit. Let's see. Um, I was I was trying to I was trying to read more contemporary prose that's highly regarded to see how I rubbed up against it. And of course, against Ernest Portis, I'm absolutely terrible. Of course, I am comparing myself to the final draft of an amazing novel, right? But uh, for Cypher, True Grit, the book. I did read the. I mean, I'm sorry, I did watch the most modern movie, um, True Grit, years before I decided to read the book, actually. And I fell for the story again. It was so good. A good story just keeps hitting. It's something that you can return to. So much so that I think that if you haven't, it would be a book that I highly, highly recommend. It's it's from the point of view of the protagonist, Maddie Ross, who is um, traveling to the Choctaw Nation through the dangerous Choctaw Nation to find the man named Cheney who killed her father while he was unarmed, trying to help him in cold blood. And he's now a fugitive on the run, and she enlists the help of Rooster Cogburn, specifically because she asks around town and she was told that Rooster has what's called true grit, and that more so than other more so than other federal agents who are good at tracking or are noble and by the book. She opts for Rooster because of his grit. Ironically, of course, being that she probably has the most grit of any character in the book. Her steadfast nature. If you want to learn how to write a strong character, read a strong character, read Maddie Ross. She's unflinching. She's determined. She gets what she wants. There's a specific scene where her father, before his death, had bought a bunch of ponies and had this idea of what he was going to do with all of these ponies. And then after his death, the family is on the hook for all of these ponies. And during the course of her travels, she sells the ponies back to the person who sold them to her father. And that is a masterclass of a scene right there, of how to how to stand your ground, two, how to write a character that's unwavering, um, resourceful, smart, clever, and just to put like a final polish on the scene. The next day, she returns and repurchases one of the ponies at a lower cost than what she had sold it back to the man for. And you just think, wow, all this from a 14-year-old girl who knows who she is, knows what she wants, and puts her foot down until she gets it. And it's not that she doesn't make concessions ever, but she does pick and choose her battles. And some things just aren't worth her time. There's another scene too, and spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't read it, I guess turn this off, but don't turn it off. Give me likes and subscribes and follows before you do, okay? Hey, the banana man. Thanks for saying hi. Um uh there's another scene there's two well, I'm sorry, there's two scenes that happen. One where Rooster Cogburn has the chance to gain the upper hand by lying to his enemy and uh and does so. He says there's like 50 cavalrymen out here. Come out with your hands up and surrender peacefully. Otherwise you'll be shot to death and there's no way you can possibly win this battle whenever they're approaching the dugout. And once, spoiler alert, once again, in Act 3-ish, whenever Maddie is captured by Cheney, um, she has the ability to lie. He asks her how many people are out there, but she has such integrity as a character that she never falters in thinking of lying. The truth is always on her side. At some point, she even tells Cheney's ringleader the truth about why she is there and what Cheney did to her father, thinking, well, obviously the truth should convince the ringleader to let me seek vengeance on Cheney and let us escape with our lives. Wow. Just what grit, what true grit, um, portrayed, from a 14-year-old girl, um, in the Old West. Highly recommend. I say the Old West. We're on the edge of industrialization, I must say, in the book. I forget the year specifically. It was a few weeks ago. I've read several books since, but highly recommend True Grit, guys. And if you have kids out there and you're listening to this and you want your kid to get really interested in reading, I think True Grit is a really great way to start, not to mention the way that from Maddie's future self is looking back on her past, retelling this story. And everything that she says is very matter of fact. It actually reminds me of Albert Camus' The Stranger. Very pointed sentences, very easy to digest, and the staccato like nature of her observations makes it a really, really fun character. Highly recommend if you have a daughter and want to give them a character to look up to. I know if I had a daughter, I would want them to be a little bit more like Maddie Ross. So, True Grit. 5 stars out of 5 stars, 10 stars out of 5 stars. Really, it earns every acclaim that anyone has ever spoken or written about it. Check it out. Let's see, what else did I read? Oh, hey y'all out there. Thanks for joining me. If you want a widescreen view, I'm on twitch.tv/Derek DeNicola Writer, or on YouTube. You can check out my channel at Derek DeNicola, DerrickDenicola. What else did I read? Oh, I read We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Has anybody else out there read this? We Have Always Lived in the Castle. It's like the closest thing I could describe to a contemporary American Gothic horror, I guess. I say horror, but there's nothing supernatural. At its core, it's a tale about two sisters who love each other very much. It reminds me a lot of We Have Always Lived in This Castle reminds me a lot of Beautiful Creatures as well. Has anybody seen Beautiful Creatures? Of course, it was a book as well, but based on true accounts, made into a movie by Peter Jackson, starring Kate Winslet and the lead from Yellow Jackets Melanie oh no. I have to find her name, otherwise I'm gonna be so. Melanie Lynskey, thank you, wife for the win over there. Melanie Lynskey, about these two friends who grow up, they kind of feed into each other's fantasies, their make-believe world, their secrets shared between one another, and then whenever their parents threaten to end their friendship, I think by moving or just like one of them is going to move away or something like that, they plot to kill one of their own parents and do. And they go to jail, they go to therapy, and these women are still out there in real life, living um, court ordered, like a court ordered 500 miles apart from each other for the rest of their lives. But that's how so entwined they become. And I bring that up to say, uh, we have always lived in the castle. Made me feel kind of like that. There is a very isolated family that lives in this town, and you learn of this tragedy that befell this family. It's the only members left are two sisters, Mary Cat being um, the main protagonist, the storyteller, and their uncle Julian as well. And their uncle Julian is wheelchair bound. He has survived arsenic poisoning, and his quality of life ebbs and flows from poor to manageable at best. And it's really about how it's really man versus themselves and man versus the world, because these sisters have to choose between feeling safe and living in complete isolation from from the rest of the world. And the big antagonist is this cousin that comes to town, but for me, I think the big antagonist in this book was the potential that one of the sisters would start living life normally, that they would fall out of their isolationist routine. Um, the things that the superstitions that I say they, the superstitions that Mary Cat lives by in order to feel like she can survive, um, can be very, man, I really wish I would have thought about what I was going to say before I'm saying it, but this is how live streams work. It's very, I don't know, I just want to say bleak. I just want to say bleak. However, it's really interesting to like live in the mind of someone who is superstitious, someone who has essentially been emotionally, maybe even intellectually, um, arrested developmentally. The beginning of the story, they say the character of Mary Cat is 18 years old, and then you read the prose and you immediately know something is wrong here. But to live in the mind of someone who believes that if I do this, then this will happen, or if I nail this to this tree, this will protect me, or if I smash this glass or bury this trinket, um, everything will work out and no harm can come into me. I'm going to go to my special place where I live on the moon and flowers grow and there's a pretty little house. Like having being able to read through those kinds of thoughts that might not ever be your own was a really fun journey that I also highly recommend. It is a little on the darker side, FYI. There is murder, if that's what you're into. But we have always lived in this castle. And then I gotta tell you, these are long drives because I've been crushing it on books. I also read. Oh, I also read The 10th of December by George Saunders. And I love it whenever an author reads their own audiobook. Hey, Gabriel Saint, I am Bolognese. Get out of here. This isn't Galactic Phone. How you doing out there in YouTube land? Oh, I saw you sent me a text message, but I just got home and I wanted to knock this out so I could get back to the day. I will respond to you. I'll respond to you right now. Uh, I think I have a green screen for you. I think I have green screen stuff. Ooh, y'all hear that? Um, yeah. So I was listening to reading The 10th of December by George Saunders. And talk about a witty prose voice. Uh, what a what a sense of humor that can take a dark turn on a dime. There's one short story. It's a collection of short stories. There's one that stands out, and it feels very sci-fi-y, where um, criminals basically get to have human tests run on them in lieu of their death sentence, and they are installed with these multi-packs, kind of, I guess, surgically implanted in them, perhaps, or maybe just strapped to them, where experimenters get to inject chemicals that heighten certain emotions. The suit? Oh my God, the suit. Okay. All right, fine. Fine. I'll do it. I'll bring the green screen suit. Um, that I found really, really good. Ooh, me alpha, you reached a 5 stream streak. Thank you for my dinosaur. Thank you for coming in, and I'm sorry if I neglected you. But thank you so much for my late dinosaur. You know that makes me feel good. Hold on, I have to ban Stream Boo. You know how I do. One of these days, I'm gonna get some really good followers on Stream Boo. uh, yeah. So George Saunders, 10th of December. Um, so many short stories, a bunch that stand out. Honestly, it's kind of hard to recollect because I've already moved on to a new book. But if you want to like just, he kind of reminds me of a slightly darker, more dramatic David Sedaris. If David Sedaris was a little bit less of an essayist and went into short story fiction and absolutely went wild, maybe even took a tab of LSD and started writing. George Saunders, 10th of December. Highly recommend. And then the book that I just finished today, I read Shakespeare in a Divided America. And this book is nonfiction, but really, really interesting. And I have to say, especially as a former theater kid, I don't think, okay, let me tell you this. If you're a theater kid, it never goes away. You're always a theater kid. But as someone who acted in a lot of plays in college, and was able to perform various monologues, soliloquies, and even act in a full-scale production of Macbeth, which I'm not supposed to say because it's bad luck, but honestly, don't believe in it. Sorry. Uh, nice, Gabe. I'm recommending the book. All recreational drugs are up to you. Use responsibly, but you didn't hear that from me. Um, the the book Shakespeare in a Divided America, by Shapiro. His last name, I forget his first name. John Shapiro. I'll have to look it up, but definitely Shapiro. Had some really great anecdotes about how Shakespeare has really intertwined uh, his works throughout America's history. Um, how influential it was during um, Lincoln's presidential term, how it influenced John Wilkes Booth, how abolitionists used to make their point, or anti-abolitionists used to make their point, by different by citing Othello. There was another instance where it was called There's another instance in the book that's talked about the Astor riots, which I had no idea had ever taken place in New York City. And it had to do with basically an actor who was a very strong nationalist and an English actor who were both big Shakespeare performers who were touring and acting in New York at the same time, using Shakespeare as the medium in which to say English is aristocratic and elitist, and we need more American Shakespeare, and how American nationalism appropriated Shakespeare and how they used it to protest the English Shakespeare and attacked the theater, interrupted plays. Literally, the cavalry had to be called in order to break up these riots. It's insane. Not Ben Shapiro. Oh my God, it's not Ben Shapiro. I hate that I even had to say that name on here. But it also tackles women's rights issues. They talk about how there was a period of time where it was really popular for women to play the part of Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. And I had no idea. And I gotta say, after finishing that chapter, I'm really, really disappointed that I have yet to see a version of Romeo and Juliet where the character of Romeo isn't played, where the character of Romeo is played by a woman. I would love to see that. Um, yeah, I just highly recommend, not to mention, you always get some lovely excerpts of Shakespeare's poetry, and to see the same play used throughout the chronology of America's history. And really, really, it showcases how art changes and culture changes, and how art changes culture and how culture shapes art. How the same play can have wildly different perspectives at different times. And what a better way to display it than in most one of the world's newest countries, where you can see everything escalate on a very short timeline in comparison to other countries. Anyway, Shakespeare in a Divided America. I will say, if you really enjoy something that's very well researched, um, at times can be a little dense, but that's what I like. I like knowing that somebody really, really dug deep to find these answers. Um, and Shapiro even pulls it all the way through the thread of Shakespeare, all the way through to his most modern example being Shakespeare in Love and Harvey Weinstein, and how culture at the time shaped how they chose to write Shakespeare in Love, and how they chose the ending of Shakespeare in Love. And also he talks about previous endings that they didn't shoot, which if you're a fan of cinema, know that of course Shakespeare in Love won like 7 Academy Awards in the year that it was nominated. If you're interested in that journey and the discussions that led to the choices that made that movie. For instance, I didn't know that Shakespeare in Love was originally supposed to star Julia Roberts, and Julia Roberts wasn't going to be in Shakespeare in Love unless she got Daniel Day-Lewis, who declined the role, even though she flew out to meet him and convince him. He still said no. Yeah, some really fun stuff in there. Shakespeare in a Divided America. Okay, well, that's kind of where my book journey has ended this month. Those were the 3 that I got through. I've just started 2 short stories. Train Dreams, which has been adapted and I believe is on Netflix. I'm trying to not watch it until I finish Train Dreams. I only just started the first few pages today. And Jesus' Son by the same author. I'll let you know how that goes later, but that's kind of what I've been doing lately. Have you guys read anything good lately? And what should I read next? Do you guys have any suggestions for me? Like I said, I'm killing a lot of time in my car. It's got to be on audiobooks. I'm not doing Audible. I'm not giving more money to Jeff Bezos than he already has. Cypher says, how is your own work coming along? It's coming along well. It's been slower in the past month where I've been having other work, but I still find at least some time in the week to stream. And if I stream, I edit the novel. So I'm almost at the end of my 4th pass of my novel. And on my 4th pass, after this is something that Gabriel Saint and I will always say to one another, you tighten one screw and another one loosens. So you're always adjusting. And so after this 4th pass, I've been able to take a step back, look at my chapters, and realize that I need to break up. I need to break up my chapter 3 into 2 chapters. And I want to swap my chapter 1 and 2. I thought it'd be fun to introduce the antagonist first and then meet our hero in the 2nd chapter. But sometimes the story reveals itself to you. And I just don't like my 1st chapter as much as I do the 2nd. And I know, just like with anything, you have to start your story off on its strongest foot. And so I'm going to start by introducing my protagonist because it's a better written chapter. I'm still going to keep tinkering around on my antagonist introduction, but it feels rushed, it feels cluttered, still feels overwritten, doesn't feel like it moves through time very well. And I have a handful of notes that I need to adjust. Cypher says, I sampled so many novels to find recent comps, 2 to 5 years for my query letter. It was one of the hardest things to do. It is hard. Not a lot of writers post, um, you know, what they did to succeed. Everybody kind of keeps things close to their chest, right? Like, figure it out for yourself. I did. Suffer because I did. Weird mentality to have, but I like to tell people things, how I've done things. 13012. Welcome to the Twitch chat. You know what, y'all? Just give me 1 second. I just realized I haven't even been looking at my YouTube chat. I hope I'm not neglecting too many people. Highly doubtful, I must say. But always worth checking. Still would like to hear y'all's recommendations for books. Because after Train Dreams and Jesus's Son, harder to say than it is, than you might think. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I was thinking about going back to oh, you know what else I read? I did read Get Shorty. I read Get Shorty. And it was a fun read, truly. Fun, punchy dialogue. But the author of Get Shorty also wrote Rum Punch, which has been recommended to me. I was thinking about reading Rum Punch. Has anybody read Rum Punch? What's up, DJ K Doe. Doe, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning into the you know, vertical live stream. If you want, I'm also on Twitch and YouTube live. If you want that sweet, sweet horizontal for any reason. Oh wow, feel really red. I think I'm a little windburned today. I was outside. Do you agree? Sorry, I have a wife off screen. Yes, I'm a very lucky man. You agree? Windburned? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna need to moisturize. This is not blush. Yeah, nobody's chatting in the YouTube live. Everybody's just hanging out. Okay, cool. Well, everyone. Ooh. Oh yeah. Another thing. I just the the last thing I watched, by the way, was Hamnet. There's been a lot of Shakespeare um getting reinfused into my life lately. So, after reading Shakespeare in a Divided America, um, I thought, "Ooh, let's jump in and watch Hamnet. I'm ready to cry." And it worked. It got me. I cried. Um, but that's because the story math worked out. And I knew what they were doing to me the whole time. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't like stop Hamnet in the middle and ruin the emotional momentum of the story. Just let it wash over me. And it was beautiful. And it's a work of creative fiction, right? So in it, we spend a lot more time, not even necessarily with Hamnet himself, not even really with Shakespeare, but his wife. In real life, um, Shakespeare's wife was named Anne Hathaway, and not the Princess Diaries Anne Hathaway, Catwoman Hathaway that we known from today. Um, but in but in Hamnet, I believe they call her Agnes. So we kind of are starting to get a sense already that this is kind this that this is not the Anne Hathaway. This is not a historical accuracy to what we can expect. Actually, that William Shakespeare actually went through. In it, she's kind of portrayed as a little bit of like a forest nymph, a little witchy, a little woman of the woods. There's so many wonderful little Shakespearean nods from his work that harken back into the narrative of Hamnet that make you think, oh, this must be how he came up with the idea for Twelfth Night and the boy and the girl Hamnet and his twin sister switch clothes, and you think, oh, that must be where he got the idea from Twelfth Night, and uh, and things like that. Um, but a beautiful story about grief in Elizabethan England. I think it was able to be made because a lot of it was set in in the woods, right? I say the woods, but you don't see a lot of central London. Um, it's only maybe at the end of Act 3 where you finally move into the Globe Theater for the performance of Hamlet. I don't want to give too much away, but I just will say that I really did enjoy it. And if you are a fan of Shakespeare, if you are a theater kid, if you are curious about Shakespeare and want something that might make you more interested in it, that Hamlet is a lovely watch, directed by Chloe Zhao, um, acted by Jesse Buckley and Paul Mescal, I believe. Mescal? I can't. I, I'll be honest. I yeah, Paul Mescal. I always worry that I'm just calling him a tequila, but I'm not. That's just his name. That's that's what it is. Uh, what's going on the Twitch? Okay, cool. Well, guys, that's really what I've been up to. I just wanted to tell you what I've been up to since since I felt so busy while I was late, been working a bunch. But as I was saying, there's always like a little time to write, to read, to feed the mind. Um, I remember once an acting teacher was like, "Well, you act as much as you can, like get your reps in, right? That's how you become good at anything. Get your 10,000 hours, gain the knowledge, gain the experience, and then a knowledged experience over time will equal wisdom. And then you look at your course curriculum in college and you're like, well, I need to graduate. I have to complete all of these hours. And for me, I had a 4 year scholarship. And I was like, well, I'm not going to stick around for like a fifth year. Like, I have to be done in 4 years. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a crushing amount of debt. So I took on a huge workload. And not to mention when you're in theater, um, your grade is a performance. So school during the day, then rehearsals at night, and then performances uh subsequently for weeks and weeks. And you're never not doing something. If you're not rehearsing, then you're doing your geology um research paper or whatever it is for your general grade. And I was just getting really frustrated, and I was like, I don't have time. I don't have time to get on stage any more than I'm already getting on stage, and I don't understand how I'm supposed to get all of these reps in whenever every hour of my day is accounted for. And uh, and she was like, well, do you um, she was like, so if you don't act, then read something. And if you can't read something, then watch something. And if you can't watch something, then think about it. Like daydream about it. Use your imagination. And that's helpful in a way that doesn't actually lead to obsession, because it's not healthy to be in an artistic brain 24/7, 7 days a week. You'll drive yourself crazy. You do have to take a step back. You have to be rational. You have to wash your clothes. You have to get groceries. You have to handle your taxes, right? Um, but what it did was give me permission to make the things that I was doing for fun, um, make them contribute to my professional goals. So if I was watching something before I fell asleep, yeah, I started watching it for entertainment, but then her words would come in my brain and I would be like, "Well, let me watch this analytically." And now I'm watching this, I don't know, Friends episode with an analytical eye. And what made me laugh? And what can I take from these actors? And why is Matthew Perry so good? And what can I steal from him and use in my next performance? Things like that. So if you don't have time, um, I'd argue that uh, you can use the time that's already being occupied just by flipping a switch on in your brain saying, I need to analyze this as an artist. At even non-writing related jobs, I will um I'll catch myself being like, well, let me take a step back. Like, I'm not at work right now. I'm not stressed right now. Let me do some character observations. How are people sitting? What are their what are their tics? Their facial tics, their idiosyncrasies. Their idiosyncrasies. Wow, how is that so hard to say? I think I'm a little stopped up. Guess what? I think it's a little hard to say idiosyncrasies whenever you're stopped up, and I have no idea why. But even this, I just caught myself on screen touching my nose to say idiosyncrasies. Um, some people play with their earlobe. Some people twirl their hair. These are all things that you can use for a character. Today, I came across a gentleman that could very easily be a character. Slightly hunched back, very thin skin, freckled arms, wispy, yellow and gray hair. A man who imports grapes from Guatemalans and uses them to ferment his wine in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and is allergic to seaweed and wears really nice clothes, but New Balance shoes everywhere. How specific is that? Just by a little bit of observation, I've observed a character that if I didn't tell you about, you would think I was a genius for creating. Had I put that man in a book, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving myself too much credit. Oh, well, let me see here. 6:30. 6:30 my time, y'all. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start editing my novel. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Ooh, 1 second. I guess I really wasn't ready. Or I guess I really wasn't ready for today. Where is my... There we go. So, Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. Talk amongst yourselves. And then let me get my pages document. Give me my novel. So I'm at 27 right now. I'm editing chapter 27. I have 30 chapters. It's going to be more than that because I am unhappy with the layout so far. Always changing, always tinkering. But you know what? It does get better every time. It does. I'm really starting to see a bridge between the ambitious author that overwrote Elizabethan history in England, trying to immerse the audience in it, and pulling all those weeds out to reveal the path that is the story. It's kind of like weeding a garden, really. That's kind of the stage that I'm in right now. So, if you want to see me edit live, you can pop on over to my Twitch, darling. Twitch / Derek DeNicola Writer. And I'll have the chat up and I will have my text up. So you'll see where I have the edit line right here, right now. Let me go ahead and read to you. Chapter 27, Get Disgusted with Myself and Make Edits Along the Way. Chapter 27, The Rope and the Blade. Let me wet my whistle. Chapter 27, The Rope and the Blade. Here we go. The window overlooked what used to be the Queen's private gardens. Now, a muddy stretch of earth carved with boot prints, wheel ruts, and a dozen makeshift barricades. Beyond the gates, the city pulsed. Smoke curled from carts. The last shouts of rebellion were losing their rhythm. No formation, no banners, just scraps of people drifting in clusters, arguing or limping home. I'm trying to get away from this bad habit of saying what things are not. And I was actually, I caught an author doing this. I think it was in Shakespeare's America, actually. I mean, sorry, Shakespeare in a Divided America, where they said this didn't happen and this didn't happen, but then they justified why those things weren't there and they should have been, or why they weren't there for one group of people and it technically existed for another. It was a great way to use why things are not. And I thought, "Oh, what a great example. I need to hold on to that." And clearly I just forgot. But what it did teach me was that I need to be more precious with my words and my word choices. And I'd rather tell you what exists in the story rather than waste your time telling you what doesn't exist in the story, even if it's for um, a sense of drama, shall we say. So formations had deformed, just scraps of people drifting in clusters, arguing or limping home. The mob had collapsed under its own weight. Devereaux had promised them justice, but what he gave them was theater. Thomas leaned one shoulder against the stone. His body ached. A show made real. A show made real. Revealing blood and bone. Thomas leaned one shoulder against the stone. Oops. Sorry. Thomas leaned one shoulder against the stone. His body ached, not from any one injury, but from all the things it had carried too long. The rope, the names, the faces in his dreams, a bitter coldness he got from sleeping on the streets that never quite thawed. I don't think I need the names. That way it's more like a 3. Da-dun, da-dun, da. He didn't know where the queen was now. Somewhere deeper in the palace, secured or sent away. It wasn't his concern. He had done what he came to do. But he didn't feel relief. He didn't feel anything at all, really. Not triumph, not absolution. See how I do that? Terrible, terrible habit. But, like, what's a way to... I could either delete this, I could just, cut mercilessly, or we can define triumph, or we could define what it means to be most non-triumphant, right? Thank you, Bill and Ted. Let's call it a hollow triumph. Whoops. Hollow triumph. And instead of saying, like, not absolution, let's say absolution. Was hidden in a place it could never be found. Almost personifying it, right? That's more fun. It's more poetic. We're using literary devices. But he didn't feel relief. He didn't feel anything at all, really. Hollow triumph. Absolution was hidden in a place it could never be found. We don't need this just. The throb behind his eyes and the memory. The throb behind his eyes Ooh, how about this? Let's rearrange this. The memory of Marlowe's voice. Let's not confuse it with anybody else he might have executed. The memory of Marlowe's voice. Pushed against. How about pushed its way through his brain? That way it goes, he had thought. So we're in his brain. We're getting thoughts, right? He had thought once that a man only needed space to be free, but now he knew freedom didn't mean silence. Look at this. I feel like the repetition of this is killing me. No chains, no cage, no order. I hate myself as a past writer. I'm so angry at past me for doing this. Who in the do I think I was? You know? Oh, thank you, Gabe. Yeah, I do have to. Yes. Yes. I have a laundry list of things I need to do. Trust me, I have a lot of problems, and that is one of them. So many problems to fix. Okay, let's get rid of this no chains, no cage, right? Or is there a way to be proactive about it? But now he knew freedom didn't mean silence. Freedom meant choosing. This is fluff. Just stupid little fluff. Overwritten. Freedom meant choosing, and choosing meant taking a risk. Yeah, I said it in less words. And choosing meant risk. He had gone too long without risking anything. He closed his eyes, let the sounds outside fade into nothing, and waited. Not for orders. Look at this. Oh, I'm so pissed off at me. This is a much better sentence. Waited for whatever came through the door next. A soft click echoed across the room. Thomas opened his eyes. The wall panel across from the hearth, one he hadn't looked at since he had arrived, moved slightly, a breath of cold air pushing through the seam. It opened slowly, hesitantly. That's double mumbo jumbo. It opened slowly, like a secret deciding whether to reveal itself. It opened like a secret deciding whether to reveal itself. And then Devereaux stepped through. His boots were loud on the marble. His coat hung open, the mud-stained hem dragging just enough to show how long he'd been walking. He looked thinner than he had in the square. Dirt smudged his cheek. His coat was half unfastened, boots splashed with mud, but his posture was unchanged, straight, proud, curated. He paused when he saw Thomas. You, Devereaux said. Thomas didn't speak. Where is the queen? Somewhere safe. You really think warning her fixed anything? His voice was low and laced with venom. She'll still die. If not today, then by the slow rot of what she's built. You only delayed it. Devereaux took a step toward Thomas. They want food, not freedom. They want to be ruled by a smiling, sensible leader instead of a cruel, indifferent tyrant. And you, he moved closer, eyes hard now. You think you're different because you pulled a lever with a frown instead of a smile? Because you hated it? That makes you better? Thomas straightened, walking toward Devereaux. No, he said. What makes me different is I finally stopped doing what I was told. I had to do to survive. I gotta be honest, I don't know if I like this line. No, he said, what makes me different is I finally stopped doing what I was told I had to do. Here's the problem that I have with it. People telling him to do something. I've built a character this entire time that has been lying in the bed that he has made, okay? Now, yes, Devereaux is basically holding kill or be killed over him at that time, but this does not feel like where Thomas has evolved to. What makes me different is that I finally stopped doing what I had to do to survive, right? So let's get rid of this, what I was told. What makes me different is I was finally stopped. What makes me different is I finally stopped doing what I had to do to survive. It feels like there's a... It feels like there's more. I finally stopped doing what I had to do to survive. Instead, what I'm doing is this. But I like the idea that that sentiment is unfinished. But if we interrupt now, we have to finish it later. And I think I do have like some sort of... Yeah, I think I do have something. I think I have something that he says that's clever and witty and wraps it all up, right? So, let's just get to it. Let's keep moving. 30 chapters ish. I kind of forget what I wrote. Some of this feels like reading a brand new book. Devereaux scoffed. You were never anything but a butcher, the queen's shadow wearing a hood. You hanged a boy and said nothing. The first two sentences don't help Devereaux's argument. It's a little counterintuitive, not in a way. We know that he's smart. This is what he needs. This is the direct psychological attack. This is the jab to the front of the nose. You hanged the boy and you said nothing. You are not a man. You're a tool, a rope in human shape. And you're a snake in disguise, Thomas said. Only difference between us is you're still pretending to be a hero. That was when Devereaux lunged, bringing his shoulder into Thomas's ribs. He sent them both crashing into a desk. The candelabra tipped sideways and fell on the floor with a hollow, ringing clatter. Thomas staggered back. Devereaux didn't stop. He drew his sword in a single fluid motion. The blade cut through the air, thin and fast. Thomas barely had time to react. He grabbed the candelabra from the floor and raised it in both hands as the first strike came down. Steel hit brass. A spark spat into the air. Devereaux pressed forward with a flurry of strikes, each one angrier and more chaotic than the last. Thomas backpedaled, blocking with the candelabra, metal denting under the blows. You don't get to rewrite what you are, beggar, Devereaux shouted. Beggar or sailor? I think beggar is lower than sailor. I think he's right. I think Devereaux's trying to cut him in every way possible right here. Thomas blocked high, barely, then swung the base of the... Can't write these, apparently. The candelabra into Devereaux's side. It hit, but Devereaux didn't slow. You spend your days killing for the queen, and now you want to feel clean? Ugh, so much redundancy here. It's more about how Devereaux feels, not about the queen. Like, the in public, it's about the queen. In private, it's about Devereaux's pride, his ego. We need it's Act 3. We're so close to the end. The curtain has to have fallen, is what I'm thinking. You betray the man who actually gave you everything. Another strike. Thomas ducked. The sword split a velvet chair behind him. I don't want to feel clean. Thomas grunted. I want to be done. Whoops. Oh, shit. There we go. Now you want to feel clean? You betray the man who actually gave you everything. Another strike. Thomas ducked. The sword split a velvet chair behind him. I don't want to feel clean, Thomas grunted. I want to be done. Devereaux slashed sideways. Thomas caught the blade with the broad dish of the candelabra, but the force sent him stumbling backward into a carved statue near the wall, a figure of King George rearing back on a dragon. Devereaux advanced, and in a sudden savage arc, he turned his blade and struck the statue. The king's head snapped clean off. Thomas scrambled, found footing, and swung the candelabra low to drive Devereaux back. He needed something better, something solid, something. His hand closed around a chalice from the floor, dropped during the earlier scuffle. Devereaux struck again, this time aiming for Thomas's chest. Thomas raised the cup. The blank sank into the silver, stopping Devereaux's blade from piercing his chest. They locked eyes. You want to kill me, Thomas said, panting. So you can feel like you still control something. Devereaux didn't deny it. He kicked Thomas backward. Thomas fell over the leg of an overturned chair. He landed hard, the breath knocked from him. Devereaux, taking advantage of the moment, took the chair and planted all four legs over Thomas's body, pinning him to the ground. Devereaux climbed on the chair, adding his weight to it. He peered over the side at Thomas, his head vulnerable. I must confess, I've always wondered what it would like to feel. I have always wondered what it would feel like to remove one's head. Devereaux adjusted his grip on the sword, his weight crunching into the chair. The point hovered inches from Thomas's face. Devereaux's chest rose and fell, his mouth curled with something darker than rage, something like glee. You'll die a failure, he said. Like you, Thomas gasped, his face turning jovial, laughing. That was when something shifted, not in Devereaux, but in Thomas. A comfort settled in him, something quiet, something determined. Devereaux plunged his sword at Thomas's face. Thomas twisted sideways, let the blade cut shallow across his jaw, and surged to his feet, toppling Devereaux from the chair. Thomas scrambling on a lot of feet. Oh, he already surged to his feet. So Thomas, scrambling, scrambling. Thomas reached for a piece of half-torn, thick velvet curtain that still clung to the rod. One hand gripped the curtain tie, yanked it down hard. And yanked it down hard. The fabric tore. The metal rod clanged against the floor. I guess when I'm typing fast, these just don't come as easily as they should. Back to it. against the floor. Devereaux turned to find his sword on the floor. But before he could reach it, Thomas looped the curtain rope around his neck and pulled. Ah, Thomas, back to his old tricks again. Devereaux's fingertips barely grazed the hilt of the sword. Devereaux clawed at the rope, kicking, stumbling backward. Thomas pressed him into the floor, every muscle straining, not to kill, but to stop. That's a good use of not something. His breath hissed through his teeth. More acceptable, I'll say. I don't know if it's great. His breath hissed through his teeth. You don't get to rewrite what you are. Devereaux's feet slid, scrapping for leverage, but Thomas wasn't letting go. I feel like that can't be true. Because Devereaux is literally trying to rewrite what he is. Devereaux's feet slid, scraping for leverage, but Thomas wasn't letting go. The pressure built. The color drained from Devereaux's face. His hands began to slow. Then Thomas released. Devereaux collapsed, coughing, gasping. He reached for the sword, but Thomas kicked it away. Devereaux's strength ebbed. His grip weakened. His knees buckled, and for a moment, just a moment, it looked like it was over. Thomas released him. Devereaux collapsed to the floor, coughing, gasping for air, hands trembling. Thomas stepped back, chest heaving, blood running in a hot stripe. Stripe? Did I mean stripe or strip when I wrote this? Blood running in a hot stripe down his sleeve? Yeah, I guess. Blood running hot down his sleeve. He didn't see Devereaux's fingers curl around the broken shard of a chair leg. With a wheeze of effort, Devereaux lunged up from the floor, eyes wild, weapon raised high, aiming not for a clean blow, aiming for vengeance. Thomas turned just in time to see it coming, and then the doors burst open. Stand down! Devereaux froze, mid-strike. 2 guards surged in, weapons drawn, boots thundering across the floor. Behind them, Catherine followed, breathless, her dress muddied and torn at the hem, and in her hand, the Queen's seal, the royal medal, given to Thomas. She held it high. She looked as though she'd run the whole length of the palace. Her hair clung to her temples, her dress stained with sweat and smoke. I don't know how you'd see the smoke. I think that's more overwritten, more overwriting. Devereaux didn't move at first. He took in the scene. Catherine, the guards, Thomas bleeding on the floor. Devereaux's eyes settled on the guard's blades, then flickered to the open door behind him. Too far. He pivoted fast, crossing to the wall beside the window where a velvet curtain hung in heavy folds. With a growl, he snatched a lit, unbeaten candelabrum and heaved it into the curtain. Flame met fabric. The drapes went up in seconds. Sheets of fire racing toward the wooden molding above. The guards, startled, stepped back. Smoke bloomed thick and acrid. Before anyone could stop him, Devereaux was already at the far end of the room. He kicked a narrow cabinet aside, revealing a panel behind it, a servant's passage, tucked where the wall met the hearth. He turned once, face lit up by firelight. You've made a mistake, he spat. Both of you. And then he vanished through the opening, and the panel slammed shut behind him. The guards started after him, but the fire roared louder now, and the head drove. I don't need a head. I don't know what the head means. And, but the fire roared louder now and drove them back. Once cursed and turned. Oh, I must have meant one. One cursed and turned to Thomas. Are you able? I will be, he said, rising on unsteady legs. Catherine was already at his side, eyes stinging from smoke, face pale with relief and guilt. I didn't know it would be Marlowe, I swear, she said. I know. She reached for his arm, but he was already pulling something from his pocket. The cloth was folded small, softened from wear. Her stitching along the corner had frayed slightly, still intact but worn by use. Stitching still intact, all this stuff. You kept it, she said. Thomas nodded, then pressed it gently to the cut along his jaw, letting it soak up the blood. Outside, shouts echoed in the halls, guards moving through smoke, calling for order. A mad scramble of... I need another word for guards. Let me go to my trusty thesaurus. I'm using guards too much. Okay, so how about this? Scramble of... Let's call this... Patrol... Patrol moving through smoke, calling for order. A mad scramble of guards came in and pulled the curtains down and stamped them out with the soles of their boots. Thomas turned to look at the passage Devereaux had disappeared through. He tucked the handkerchief away and looked to Catherine. We stay close now, she said. No more secrets. He nodded. He nodded, swallowing a breath. Let's start walking, he said. And together they stepped through the haze. Okay. I know I'm moving fast this particular stream, but it's already been a long day. I mean, look at my face. I gotta go moisturize, take care of myself. So I'm gonna just do the one chapter today. Do what you can. You know, you do what you can. Let's transition back. Okay, so so we did a little chat story editing. Normally I write a short story, but I think I'm just gonna keep cutting this short. Let's see, who's here in the chat? Who do I got? I got Me Alpha. Yeah, of course, because you gave me my awesome little dinosaur. I got Cypher. I got Mookie. What's up? And Sunova. Fantastic. Welcome, Sunova. I want to see kind of what the chat is feeling. Are you guys enjoying me rambling right now? Or do we want to do a digital writer's room? Or do you want me to... it's poll time. It's time for some engagement, okay? Because I'm kind of running on fumes. And so I want you to make the decision for me. And I know that's not what you came here to do. You didn't come here to work and answer a poll. But honestly, I love the polls. Let's see. What shall I do? Oh. You freezing up now? Come on, y'all. Man, my dog is a loud eater, huh? Is anybody else getting that? Let's see. What shall I do? Let's say Derek. What shall Derek do? An original short story? Or write an original short, post a digital writer room, in stream, go, and go relax. I would love to hear your opinion on this. Oh, Mookie, you said rambling is good. It's one of my fortes, I gotta say. Gotta say. Here's a fun little game that ended up happening today. While things were slow at work, I was telling people I'm a writer, and one person was like, "Well, what's my origin story?" I know this sounds like content that I'm making up, but I swear to God, this really happened. And it's a fun way to engage with people and engage your own brain, and it's a fun little icebreaker. So, not knowing anything about this coworker, he asked me, um, where it started off as like, well, where do you think I'm from? I was telling people, oh, I'm actually from Louisiana. I'm like, oh, no way, you don't sound like you're from Louisiana. Do you speak with a Creole accent? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, where do you think I'm from? I was like, oh, well, I'm going to say that you are just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that you used to play basketball until you injured your ankle. And then you found yourself out in California because you had lost your scholarship and you were at UCLA, but you couldn't play anymore. So you picked up this other hobby and blah, 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 blah. And that's why you're here right now. And they were like, oh, completely wrong, but that's really fun that you thought that of me. And then somebody else came up and said, well, where do you think I'm from? What do you think my origin story is? So we ended up, um, for like 5 minutes, people coming up to me asking me, where do you think I'm from? What's my origin story? And this isn't anything new, but you've probably heard of this exercise before, which is like, uh, people watching. You know, next time you find yourself sitting in an airport terminal or on a bus or on riding the subway or stuck in traffic, um, pick someone, and start developing their backstory just for fun. You don't ever have to say it out loud. You don't have to be offensive, by getting it wrong. Mookie says, I live outside of Pittsburgh. The rest sounds nothing like me, however. See, Mook, I had even forgotten that you had mentioned that. But it is fun. It's fun whenever you get it. It's fun when you get eerily close to the truth. That's whenever things get interesting. Okay. So, the poll has ended and nobody voted. So it's up to me, I guess. It's up to me. Well, I mean, if it's up to me, I'm gonna end early, or I'm just gonna keep rambling because I'll be honest with you. I like spending time with you guys. I just feel like just feel mentally, physically burnt out. I don't know what I'm willing to generate, and that's okay. I can own my tiredness. I can be fine being tired, I don't have to you don't have to do everything all the time. Or you don't have to do something all the time. think that's an important lesson to learn. Sometimes you can just sit and do nothing. So sit here and do nothing with me. Mookie says, did you start a new job? I did, Mook. I did. Started it out in Malibu, California. And it's kind of a little bit of a schlep from where I live. But you know what? It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to be working near the beach, even though today was a cloudy day. I must say there have been some days when it is beautiful and sunny, and white noise machines are great, but nothing beats the actual sound of the actual ocean. Oh, Mookie, oh my God. Thank you for the bits. Oh my goodness. It's been it's been so long since I've gotten any bits, Mook. Relax and use some of this for some bubble bath soap. Oh my God. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do, Mook? I'm gonna use my Dawn dish detergent. My liquid dish detergent to make my bubble bath. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot. I know it's bits, but it's a lot to me. It's holes to me. WHOLE. Okay. Well, Mookie literally just paid me to leave. How can I make a career out of this? How can I make a career out of people paying me to stop doing my job? This job I do voluntarily that is self-imposed by myself. Mook, you're the best, man. Thanks so much. But you know what? I also need to raid somebody. We've got to send the audience somewhere. Someone deserving. So let's you may be onto something. Pay me to stop stream. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. But also, how would I know when to stop? I guess I need to set up like some sort of monetary goal. Pay me to stop streaming. How long could I go? I guess it's up to me. Okay. That's a good one, Mook. That's very insightful of you. Very clever. Pay me to stop streaming. It sounds like the kind of thing that would work in America. It sounds like a pet rock. Just dumb enough to work, right? Okay, so let's go to Twitch. Let's find somebody. Let's find somebody to raid. Who are we going to raid? It's always nice today. It's one of the best parts about Twitch, right? Like, it always makes someone's day to get raided. All of a sudden have a bunch of followers. Let's try and make a new friend today. Let's go to writing and reading and see if they're, at this new hour, if there's anybody actually doing the thing. Who's out there reading and writing right now? Cryptid Roots? A cryptid editor? A cryptid editor reads your stories. Oh, that's interesting. And I know you guys have some stories, Cypher. I know you have stories. That might be interesting. Let me see. Author Christie. I like that this person has author in their name. Mr. Brightside live reading chapter. Writing sprints. It sounds a lot like what I'm doing. Maybe you guys might like this channel. Okay, let's raid this person. They seem to have, I'll be honest, their page is set up a lot better than mine is, but they seem to have my vibe just based on the great title description. USA, USA. Mookie, I wish you lived closer to California. I feel like we could really hang out. We'd have a fun day. Okay, let's raid. Let's raid author Christy and make a new reading and writing friend. Y'all, they're so hard to come by. Okay, we're doing it. We're about to raid author Christy in 8 seconds. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, especially at this late hour, especially because it's a weird one. But it made my day to see you guys. Just love you so much. Thanks so much for popping in the chat. And let's do it again next week. Longer. Here we go. Let's raid.